Alin Fumurescu from University of Houston.
Thanks for inviting me.
This colloquium. So first of all, Professor Fumurescu, could you explain us the basic reasons for your interest in the notion of compromise and the reasons why you see it as an important key for...
Well, yeah, it started as a matter of fact. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but it started mostly by accident. While I was in grad school, I asked myself who said for the first time politics is the art of compromise, and I thought I'm the only one who didn't know. But to my surprise, I asked some of my professors, and apparently no one knew exactly. And I started looking up and trying to go back in history, and all I could find was it is well known, it is said that politics is the art of compromise, but who was the it? I couldn't identify. Interestingly, though, while going back in history, I realized that around the 17th century, the British started using compromise as a virtue, praising it as a virtue, a political virtue, but not necessarily only political virtue, while the French, during the same time, starting to use compromise only with negative connotations. I won't compromise my honor, my virtue, and so on and so forth. So I realized that these differences are connected to a different way of thinking about the people and about political representation. And this is how I began. And since then, I kept going.
Thanks very much. And, could you tell us a word about the connection you see between the notion of compromise and the thematic of the unity of the people, which was obviously quite an important issue in the 17th century?
Yes. So briefly put it, I think that there are two ways of understanding compromise in relationship with political representation. So whenever you think about the people as a conceptual whole, as an organic whole, let's say, put it this way, compromises are more difficult to be reached, but they have chances of being long, stable, accepted compromises because the idea is that they are for the common good, done as a sacrifice for the common good against the party politics, so to speak. While interestingly enough, if you go with the liberal understanding of the people as collection of individuals divided between majorities and minorities, compromises are easier to reach because people consider themselves they are equals, right? But they are very difficult to maintain because the majorities and the minorities will fluctuate all the time, and therefore they won't endure.
Okay, this is illuminating. And also in connection with politics, the notion of compromise has affinities, of course, with pragmatism, with openness of mind, the presence of agreement opportunities, which are dependent on circumstances, evolving circumstances. Could you tell us something in this respect about the association you make between compromise theory and the theory of identity politics? Are identities to be seen as sources of rigidity?
Yeah, that's as I argue in both of my books, basically, identity compromises that involve identity politics are very hard to reach because identities are non-negotiable, generally speaking. But what is interesting about compromise is that indeed it has this, let's say, quasi-economical dimension where you bargain different interests, but it also has this more affective component, like I'm doing this because I respect you, and as we discussed today about mutual sacrifices for the greater good. So it has both components, which makes it a very attractive political tool, let's put it this way.
Sure. And last question. As you take a keen interest in history, do you think that historically constructed narratives are important for political compromises?
Oh yeah, I think they are actually extremely important, and as I shall argue tomorrow, for example, it's a battle over words, because the words we employ in order to describe what we are doing in politics create political realities. So it's a battle over meanings which boils down to a battle over words. How you present what you are doing and who you are matters a lot in politics.